said to these merchants, when you buy hadassim from a guy, you don't be the ones to cut it down. Let them cut it, and give it to you. My time, what's the reason? Your average non-Jew steals land, and it's probably this land came from a Jew. And there's a general rule, the karka ain't exelis, land can't be stolen. You could steal someone's gemara, you could steal a tissue box, but land, it's not like the Gazan has it any more than the owner. The land is where it is, so it can't be stolen. Hilkach ligzezu inu, let the non-Jews cut it. That way, the second he cuts the adasim, the owner's yish takes effect at that moment. So you have yish, and you yish in one other thing. And the merchants give it to the Jews who want to buy the hadasim. You have yish and shinir rishus, and that way they own the hadasim. You might have a question. At the end of the day, even when the merchants cut it, you still have your yish at the second they cut it, and then the shinir rishus when they sell to the Jews. So why do you need that the goyim should cut it? No, it's necessary. The avankri, the merchants, their own Ishanas, their own arba minim. It's called a Ishana. Their own dalaminim for themselves. They need to be able to acquire it. Okay, but when they make it into a bundle, the dalaminim, that changes. That's like an action that makes a major change. So why don't you acquire with that? Because Ravuna holds lulav and tzarach eged, lulav doesn't need to be bundled. And if you want to tell me that lulav doesn't need bundled, shina chezl b'yasu, it's a change that could go back in a second. You undo it, goes back to what it was. V'shina chezl b'yasu, and a shinui that easily goes back to the way it was, that's not called a shinui. But let it acquire it with a change in name. Initially it was a hadas, a myrtle. Now it's a ishan, it's a whole lulav, it's a whole dalaminim. So why don't you kind of with that? Even initially, we call hadas Ishana, so there's no major change in name. This is where we're up to the Tanur Rabbanan. Okay, so if you're starting now, you're still good to go. Says the Gemara, Tanur Rabbanan. The Rabbanan taught in the Brisa. Okay, sukkah gzula. We spoke. The parak started off about a lulav agazla. No one ever thought about this. What about stealing a sukkah? They're stealing someone's sukkah. What? Oh, yes, very good. It's going to come up, by the way. Stealing a sukkah. What is the deal with that? Could you be Yitzah? Could you not be Yitzah? Now, when someone says you stole a sukkah, in your head, what do you imagine that to be? That like, you stole the building, the whole sukkah, you brought it to your house, you stole his wood and you built it into a sukkah, you're in his sukkah, you kicked him out. What and you're quickly out. You just sat in his sukkah. Okay? Anybody else? What does sukkah gzula mean to you?
That's what I would think too.
You just walk into the sukkah. Okay, so you're going to see that your guys are right. But the Gemara is going to discuss it. You have a stolen sukkah. Right now the Brisa does not say how it was stolen. Stolen. Okay? V'hamasakech b'rshus rabim. Another case is, even though it says just mesakech, a guy puts schach in rshus rabim, really what it means is, he built a sukkah in rshus rabim. Guy went on to Commonwealth, or onto Manchester Street, and built a sukkah where it is not his possession. You're stealing from me, he's stealing from you, we all pay taxes, Manchester Street, Commonwealth Street, all the streets, we all have ownership. So if somebody goes down and builds a sukkah and makes schach under Rishus Rabbim, that's also a form of stealing. You're stealing from the rabbin. Okay? So what's the halacha by a sukkah gzula and somebody that's stealing someone's sukkah or making misakach, making schach, making a whole sukkah in Rishus Rabbim?
Why is he not right to the land again?
Because it's not your spot. You might have a part of it. I also have a part. Get out of here. It's not your spot. Imagine you come into my house. So this is my area. Yeah, but you don't own this spot. It's not your place to make a sukkah.
You can't tell me that
shared area. What?
You can't tell me
I can't dig out of the street. We can't build a sukkah there.
Chabad does it.
Well, Chabad does it. So we'll see who we pass like. Not so we pass like that. It's machlekes. Says the Brisa. Rebbe Eliezer Poisel. Rebbe Eliezer says such a sukkah is possible. The Chachamim Akshir and the Chacham say no, it's kosher. So Kiva, the Chachamim are with you. Sukkah is kosher. Rebbe Eliezer says possible. Chacham say kosher. End quote of the Brisa. That's the whole Brisa. Not so clear what the machlokes is about. What's a sukkah gzula? Rav Nachman's going to come along and elaborate what is going on in this brisa. Amar Rav Nachman, says Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman was a second generation Amor. Right? So you have the Tanoim, then starts the Amoraim. He was not the first generation. He was the second generation, and he was Rava's primary Rebbe. Right? Rava, everything more Rava, Abaye, Rava. Rava's main Rebbe was Rav Nachman. Okay? So says Rav Nachman, Machloikis, should I tell you where this Machloikis is? Here's the case. They're arguing about a very specific case. B'shetoikev es chaveroi, you grab your friend. Shetoikev means you grab. He grabs his friend, v'hitzir misikasai, and removes him from the sukkah. You walk into my backyard. I'm sitting in my sukkah, having a beautiful Yom Tov meal. You take me, you eject me out of the sukkah, and you sit down in my sukkah. That is the machlokes. That's what you guys. That's what I was thinking initially, right? That's what you're thinking. Okay, so you're right. That's the case. Fine. So what's the machlokes? The Rebbe Eliezer letamei, and Rebbe Eliezer goes according to his reasoning. And anybody who was here last month is going to remember this famous sheet of Rebbe Eliezer. We don't paskin like this. It's a very famous sheet. The Amar, he says, "Ein adam yoytze yidei chayvasai b'sukasei shechaverei." A person is not yoytze, his chiyuv, his obligation, in his friend's sukkah. You're not allowed. Sukkah has to be yours. If it's not yours, you're not yoytze. Okay, if you go to your in-laws for sukkahs, you're not yoytze. Maybe unless you gave them money. Maybe unless they said, "I'm giving you." No, I don't think so. You have to pay for it. You have to pay for it if you owned it, but not if you borrowing your seat doesn't work. So if you just went there, and you have to pay for it. You have to give $1. If you go to your if you go to your friend's house to eat the meal, not yoytze. This is Rebbe Eliezer Shita. You have to own the sukkah. What?
It's not borrowed.
Not borrowed and not stolen. You know where Rebbe Eliezer learns it from? Anybody remember? Pasuk from the second parak. It says, take a look at Torah or Hashalim on the bottom of your Gemara, letter Beis. It says, Chag Sukkos Taseh Lecha. The Yom Tov of Sukkos, of making Sukkos, is you should make for yourself for 7 days. Lecha. It has to be yours. If you don't, everybody knows Dalamina. You have to own the Dalamina, right? Not let a borrow over the Arbamina. It has to be yours. Somebody gives you as a matana, it has to be yours. Sukkah, according to Eliezer, is the exact same thing, and it's the entire sukkah. It's not just day one. So it says, Rebbe Eliezer holds, a sukkah is not yours, you're not Yetzeh. Okay, fine. So comes the Gemara elaborates. I karka nigzeles. I'll read the words and I'll come back. Sukkah zuli. If karka can be stolen, then it's a stolen sukkah. Vinami karka ein nigzeles, and if karka can't be stolen, sukkah shuli. It's a borrowed sukkah and it's no good. I read the words, it needs a hagama. We've learned so far, and I said to you pretty clearly, karka ain't an exelis. I could steal this Gemara. If I steal this Gemara, I stole it. If I don't really own it, I'll give it back to you. But if I really own it, I do a change to it, I take it over, I owe you money. It could be stolen. There's a machlokes if karka could be stolen, right? Karka doesn't move. It is what it is. If you own your house, how do you steal it? I step on it, the karka is there. It's very hard to steal karka. So some Tanaim hold, and we paskin like this, karka can't be stolen. You can hang out there from today till tomorrow. It can't be stolen. Okay, there's a rule. If no one's been there for 3 years, there's a chazaka, right? Chesed batim. It's not because you're stealing it, you're proving it's yours. But if you walk into my property and you try to steal it, it's impossible to steal. That's how we paskin. But believe it or not, there's actually machlokes Tanaim about it. And some Tanaim hold, you could steal ground. If you go there and you knock a guy out and you take ownership, and I don't know, you go to the police and you shoot them off with guns, I don't know, you stole the ground. No, you could steal it as regular, like you stole a Gemara. So there's a machlokes about it. So even though we don't pass like that on Damar, the Gemara addresses both. According to Rebbe Eliezer, that holds you can't be yaitz with someone else's sukkah, says the Gemara again, if ground can be stolen, okay, it's still no good. Sukkah Zuli, it's a stolen sukkah. Not yaitz with a stolen sukkah, it has to be yours. And if also, or you want to say karka can't be stolen, that's not either going to help you. Sukkah Shuli, it's a borrowed sukkah, right? If you walk into my property and you go in there without permission, and you didn't steal it, but you're borrowing, it's not mine, it's not yours. So whichever way you slice it, according to Eliezer, you cannot be yaitze with a sukkah that you stole. Yeah.
Why would you bring up?
Why would you even bring it up?
Yeah.
We don't pass it like that?
No, it's very much that it's a power of something, whether it's still.
Yes, the Gemara just elaborating. Whichever way you slice it. If you stole it, you stole it. And if you didn't stole it, you borrowed it. And borrowing is not either good. So according to Eliezer,
Who's stealing karka?
what?
Who's stealing karka here? He's not stealing karka.
I walk into your sukkah, I take you and I take you by the collar and throw you out of your sukkah, and I sit down. I'm stealing your land.
It's not my land, it's your sukkah.
The sukkah is connected. B'chubel karka is called land.
Even if it's Arai?
Yeah. Here, yeah. It's connected to the ground. He's bringing up a good point. There are people that ask this question. Sukkah dir is keva, sukkah is dir. Alright, maybe it's not so. But yeah, it's connected to the ground enough that we view it as land. It's not viewed as metal. Even if it could be moved, it's going to be a problem. A very movable sukkah might be an issue in general.
It's also sukkah.
Right, it could be moved, but movable, like it just like, here or there. The bingo sukkah, what? Okay, here. At the end of the day, it's considered
What
karka
about
for this.
sukkah Gazula? The way I understood Gazula
Yeah.
originally was I went into your house, I took your stuff, the boards, and I built myself a sukkah.
Oh, the Gemara is going to say exactly not like that. Very good. The Gemara is going to address that and say that's not the case, and you'll see why. Okay, so wait a second. The Gemara is going to talk about that case. The Gemara is assuming Rav Nachman saying that the way what happened was you stepped into someone's sukkah in his property. Rav Eliezer says no good. Why is it no good? Firstly, of course you did an avera. I'm not talking about that. It's an avera, but you have to own the sukkah. If it can't be stolen, it's a borrowed sukkah at the very least. It's not yours. You borrowed it. Not allowed to be. It doesn't work. And if you actually stole it, because karka can be stolen, it's stolen. So whichever way you slice it, according to Eliezer, you're not yaitze.
Let's say give them $500.
Then that's fine. You bought it.
I don't want your $500.
So you didn't buy it. You don't own it. It's stolen. Oh, if you gave him the money instead.
Money and
Okay, so Kiva wants to know. He's probably right though. If you steal someone's Gemara, yeah, and you pay back money, let's say he rips it up, and gives that money, you can't say I want a Gemara. It's too bad. A Gazan has the right to pay back money. It's not geschmack. But yeah, so if a guy steals your sukkah, let's say it could be stolen, and he pays you back money, yeah, it's like one of the most annoying things in life. A guy has an old car. That's like this happens in yeshiva. He has a dilapidated car, and it takes you to yeshiva back, right? Which is worth the same much as the most expensive car in the world. It's all you need. A guy hits you, and your car is totaled. Guess how much money you get? $500. That car to you is worth about $30,000. If you don't care about your car, it's not getting yeshiva back. But in Chesed Mishpat, it's still $100, $200. It's an unfortunate reality of Chesed Mishpat. So that's Rabbi Eliezer's shita. Says the Gemara. Rav Nachman continues. What about the Rabbanan? Why do they say it's kosher? Rabbanan l'tamai. Rabbanan go according to their reasoning. The Ami, for they say, Adam yaitze dechavasai b'sukkah shechaver. No, they don't know that sukkah has to be yours. That's how we pass him, by the way. A sukkah does not have to be yours. You can be to anyone's sukkah. But they also hold the karka ein exelis. A karka, you can't steal karka. It's not even stolen. What is it? The sukkah shuli. It's a borrowed sukkah. A borrowed sukkah is kosher. It's not nice what you did. You walked in, you ejected a guy, but you didn't steal it. You can't steal grand, can't steal sukkah. You're in the sukkah, you're having a yomtiv meal, you're a nasty guy, but you borrowed a sukkah. Okay? You borrowed a sukkah and you're yaitza. Yeah. Now people ask, and you should ask this yourselves, it's a mitzvah b'av avera. It's a mitzvah b'av avera. That can ruin itself. So, some people say it's borrowing in a not nice way, but it's not stealing. That's one answer. Some people say if you want to easily get out of it, that we found some people hold yes and no. They hold like Shmuel, that they don't hold the mitzvah there, pass as a mitzvah. It's not vera, it's not nice, but you still get the mitzvah of sukkah. You ejected a guy out, stopped him doing a sukkah. It's a very shel shlamidas. It's not vera. If I go in and borrow something without permission, it's not vera.
You say something doesn't matter, something doesn't matter.
What?
You don't mind that something doesn't
Of Inish? Not when you eject somebody. When you're ejected,
Someone steals stolen.
yeah.
No,
What? So someone steals tefillin. If someone takes tefillin, there's a lot of rules, but if you fit the rules and regulations, it could be 100% fine. Because the person wants then you should do a mitzvah. If someone's talis is in shul, I'm allowed to go and put on that talis, as long, by the way, it's brought down. I have to fold it and leave it in the same spot. If I don't do that, you're not allowed to do it. But if you do, we assume a guy will be very happy. Unless he's an istinus. Some people are very picky, and they don't want anyone touching their stuff. You're not allowed to, if you know that about it. But if you don't know, but over here, you're ejecting it, right? Imagine I go and take off your towels and put it on. You're not getting it. It's not. Don't do that. Which bicep? Oh, very good. Menachem wants to know what it says. L'cha. So the Gemara said in the second parak. You know what he uses l'cha for? To teach you that. To teach you. It gets a little complicated because it's a little bit later. But a sukkah gzula is possible. This is not a gzula. It's karka in exelis. A borrowed sukkah is okay, but a stolen sukkah is not okay. Okay?
How do you have a stolen sukkah?
How's it ever possible?
Oh, very good. How's it possible? I'm happy. I'm asking good. How's it possible to steal sukkah? The way you steal sukkah is a sukkah on a wagon. If someone has a sukkah on a car on a wagon, and I steal it, it's not connected to the ground. It's metaltalin, and it's not karka. Yeah, that would be a sukkah gzula. Our brother would say no good. But here, you can't steal a sukkah. It's a borrowed sukkah. L'cha does not tell you can't be yours. Just can't be stolen. Stolen is like really not yours. Borrowed is yours on some level. Yeah. What? Rabbi Yechon, beginning of the Gemara, mitzvah about there, or of Nachman? Sorry, Nachman. Yeah.
What's the root cause? Is that
According to Rabbi Eliezer.
If you say that car could be stolen,
Yeah.
and you hold that stolen sukkah, it's also because of the car. Why?
If there's yish, because at the end of the day, you never did any yish and shini rishus, so it's stolen, but you don't really own it 100% yet. It's not yours.
Isn't there a man that just yours?
Yeah, but I get very good. It doesn't hold like that. Very good. You're saying the I'm telling everyone is saying something that Achrayim are busy. It's not such an easy Gemara. All these are little holes. So the Elam picked up on all of them. Very good. Says Rav Nachman weiter. Okay? So Rav Nachman just told us, he figured out the case for us. The case is, the way you stole sukkah was, you went in, you ejected the guy out, and you lived in it. That has to be the machlekes. Avo, but if you say, I think Shapsi wanted to say, that's not what happened. Gazal eitzim, you stole wood. You walked into the guy's garage, and you stole his wood, his schach, the sikich ben, and you made a schach with it, you made a sukkah. That's not the case. There, divrei akol, everybody would agree, ein loy ela demei eitzim. All the guy, the nigzal, all the guy that got stolen from, all he has is the value of his wood. Why? He doesn't. It's not. It is stolen, and not only is stolen, it's the ganiv's 100%. He only has to pay back money. Why? Because you have yush, and you also you changed it. You now made it into a sukkah. You have shinemaisa.
Put it back.
What?
Put it back to the original thing.
But it takes a tircha to bring it back. That's not so easy. Taking out a hadassah from a lulav and a rav is 1 second. That takes a lot of work. Yes, everybody would say it's a sad reality. It's his sukkah. He's yaitza, but he owes you money of the wood.
Talking about like points of order. What about now where we have like panels and it's in a bag that says sukkah on it?
Well, you think it's already made up. You just throw it open.
Just like,
Why
I'm not sure.
we assuming yield?
What? We assume yish because you ejected him out of the sukkah.
No, not if you made it.
What?
When he made it, you took the wood.
Sorry. You took him. We assume that the guy would probably be miyash. Probably miyash. Or if he was miyash at least. In this case, we assume he's miyash. So therefore, Rav Nachman says that's not the case. Everybody would say you're yaitza. There's another rule why you're yaitza. Something called takanas hashavim. That Chazal felt bad for a robber. I know it sounds crazy. We want robbers to do tshuva. So if a robber steals a beam and builds a house with it, if we make him return the beam, we'll never do it. He's never going to do it. I'm not going to undo shavim. Just pay back the money. He's not going to do it. Pay back the money. So for all these reasons, even Rabbi Eliezer and everyone would agree the sukkah is his. He built it. He made it into a sukkah. He stole it. It's a good kinyan. Did an avera, and you owe him money though. And we will stop over here. Stop over here. really is two more lines.